Hello and welcome everyone to this workshop on ZKEVM with Furucombo. So we'll just get right into it. So the agenda today will be what are ZKEVMs? How are they different from other layer 2s? What are the available ZKEVM networks? What strategies can you do on these networks? And then just a brief conclusion or summary on everything. So um, ZK EVMs are basically a EVM network or a network that uses ZK technology. So it's a scaling solution that uses validity proofs for off-chain computation, and that's secured by the Ethereum main chain. So the transactions on these ZK EVM networks or on these layer 2s are rolled up or bundled and posted to the Ethereum layer 1, where the consensus is reached. So the validity proofs, we won't get too much into the technology, but this is useful in the sense that everything is computed and verified on chain, and then it's posted back to the Ethereum network to utilize the security of the layer 1. So from a security standpoint, this is really, really, really secure. This is different from the old style or the optimistic rollups because this doesn't require any user input. So this is like the next logical step to move away from optimistic rollups, although optimistic rollups are also highly secure and they have their place as well. It just kind of depends on the network conditions, but anytime you can move away from any human input, I think that's a really strong position. So how are they different from other layer 2s today? So the most used scaling solutions today are based on the optimistic rollup style. So this is if a user, protocol, whatever, thinks there's malicious transactions, they can flag these transactions, and then there's a committee that will review this. And if there's malicious activity, the chain or those transactions would have to be rolled back. Once it hits a certain point, 1 hour, 2 hours, depends on the network. I'm not sure. Each one's a little bit different. Once that limit has been hit, those actions are no longer able to be reviewed and they'll be final on chain. So this is really useful for being able to flag or look at any kind of malicious transactions, but also there's a time dilemma there. You don't want to wait too long because then there's a slower finality, and you don't want to be too short, and then people don't have time or systems don't have time to review these actions. So all the most prominent systems right now are based on optimistic rollups or prominent networks, and this includes Arbitrum, Base, and Optimism. So as I mentioned, ZK technology is a little bit different and it involves more sophisticated mechanisms, and this improves on the underlying security of the network. So that's ultimately why we're seeing this push towards ZK technology. So what networks are available today then? So there's ZKSync Era. So this is the main technology pusher. They're the ones that have been focusing on the tech the longest. And they've recently just also airdropped tokens to users of their network. So that will be likely the main focus today in terms of strategies is how can you participate, farm a potential airdrop, and earn yield on the Linea, Scroll, Polygon, and ZKSync networks. So next is Linea. This is backed by Consensus, who's developed the MetaMask. So they're a really big figure in the space as well, and they've developed their own ZKEVM. There's Scroll, who have also done a lot of research and technology development in the ZKEVM space. And then Polygon ZKEVM as well, which is also really, really prominent, and they're working towards their AG layer, so they're slightly different. And then also we see other protocols utilizing their stack, similar to how we see other networks use Optimism. So those are the four main ones that we're going to talk about today. There's other less discovered or in development ZKEVMs that are listed here, as well as many more. But there's A-Star, so they recently switched from their POS system to the Polygon Stack ZKEVM. There's a mutable ZKEVM, so this is a gaming network. And Manta 2.0 will also switch to the Polygon stack in the future. Currently, they're just using a optimistic system. But I would imagine that many networks will start to make the switch to ZK technology once it becomes readily available and easy to transition. Okay. So here is the summary of the ZKSync Era network currently. So we're sitting at around 180 million. At least that's what DeFi Llama says. We're getting a different number from Layer 2B, which is saying 1.55 billion. So we're seeing bridged over 46%, native assets 54%. So my guess is that's the token. The native amount is going to be the token there. We say daily TPS, so daily transactions per second at 13. 30-day transaction count at 20 million. And we also see in the kind of the pie chart there the different security mechanisms that are in place. So state validation, data availability is in the green, meaning that this is kind of already applied and working. Sequencer failure is yellow, so there's some errors or issues there to have it being 100%. And then proposal failure, exit window are things that aren't yet implemented, so they're in the red. So overall, ZKSync Era is about a 2.5 out of 5 on the security pie chart here. So that's probably one of the best that we're going to see today. And then in terms of top protocols, we see SyncSwap at 54 million TVL. This is their top DEX. And we see ZeroLend as their top lending protocol at 22 million. And I believe both these SyncSwap, ZeroLend support only ZKEVMs or Layer 2s in general. We also see slightly down the list is Uniswap v3 at 8.5 million and PancakeSwap at 7 million. So we see mostly DEX actions being used on ZKSync Era at the moment, but we'll see how that develops. So strategies on this network include checking the recent airdrop. So you can do that at claim.zknation.io. Always double check that you are using the correct URL. There's lots of phishing scams. Double check on the official social media. Don't just trust the link that's been posted here. Future airdrops also may happen. So you want to have continued DApp usage, maybe 3 to 5 transactions per month. You want to be able to bridge on and off the network. Generally, bridging on the native bridge is best. And then you would want to delegate your recently received ZK tokens or vote on proposals in the future. So those are good places to start for ZKSync Era. Yeah. Next, we have Linea. So Linea is sitting at 1.35 billion TVL. We've seen a huge increase in TVL since the launch of their campaign. And we see most of these assets being canonical or external assets. Daily TPS is just below 5, and 30-day transaction count is 21 million. So we see transaction count on Linea and ZKSync as being pretty close to the same. We see state validation and data availability in the green, so same as ZKSync Era. However, the sequencer failure is in red, so we get a 2.5 or 2 out of 5 for the security validation of the layer 2 here. So top protocol on Linea is ZeroLend by a long shot. So this is their lending protocol, similar to Aave v3. Renzo is the next protocol at 260 million, and this is their liquid restaking. Mendy Finance is their third, and this Mendy Finance is only available on Linea, and they're 150 million, just shy of. Nile Exchange is their top DEX, and that's at 73 million. So this network has mostly lending, DEX, and liquid staking. So what can you do, or what do you want to do on Linea then? So recently they launched something called Linea Voyage, the Surge. So the Surge is going to run for 6 months or until 3.3 billion TVL is on the network. So currently we're just under 1.5 billion. So we're about halfway there, although I imagine it'll take a bit longer to complete this next leg up on their campaign here. So you'll earn points, which you can then earn an airdrop in the future, and this started on May 16th. So we're about a month in, possibly 5 more months. I doubt we see another 5 months. We'll probably hit the 3 billion TVL before that. So the best ways to participate in the surge at this present time is to bridge funds, deposit assets into lending protocols, and trade on dexes to create volume. So you want to hit that threshold of bridging assets. You want to deposit to lending protocols so you're locking funds up in the network, and then you want to trade on dexes to create some volume. Those would be my top strategies for participating in the surge. All right. So next we have Scroll at 440 million TVL. Layer 2 Beat shows them at 733 million TVL. We got about a 50-50 split between canonical and external assets. TPS is just higher than 3, lower than 3.5, so 3.3. We see 30-day transaction count at 9 million, so about half of Linea and half of ZKSync Era. We see the state validation and data availability in the green, and sequencer failure, proposal failure, and exit window in the red. So we get a security rating of 2 out of 5 on the pie chart. The most popular protocol currently on Scroll is a yield platform, so Tranches Yield. This is a liquid staking platform. So 200, just shy of 250 million TVL. Next is Pencils protocol. So this is a farming protocol, 62 million. Ambient, their DEX at 42 million. And then we have two lending protocols, Aave, Layer Bank, 23 million and 18 million. So currently they're promoting a potential airdrop for on-chain usage. So similar as the others, you're going to want to bridge to the network. You're going to want to use DApp, so deposit into lending protocol. You're going to want to create volume on the DEX. You're going to want to liquid stake, use any kind of derivatives platform if available, possibly buy some NFTs, play some games, run through their smart contracts, things like that. And then lastly is voting on any kind of proposals. If we see a snapshot vote, you'll want to vote on that with your tokens if possible. Depending on what kind of tokens they're using for governance at the moment, because they don't have any tokens available yet. And lastly, we're going to talk about Polygon ZKEVM. So Polygon ZKEVM is a substantial decrease in the TVL compared to the others. So we're only sitting at about 15 million at the present time. Layer 2 Beat is showing 135 million, so 98% canonical. We see a very, very low TPS currently at 0.23, and we see a low transaction count as well compared to the others at 566K transactions. So we're quite early on in Polygon ZKEVM. They've had some development issues going forward, but the technology is quite robust. I expect to see things moving along here shortly. As I will mention in the next slide, they've assigned a bunch of tokens for developers, and they've also stated in the past that there's no reason that a protocol that already has a token can't do another airdrop. So they are looking at potentially providing some benefits to users on their ZKEVM. So on our security pie chart, we see state validation, data availability, and the proposal failure in the green, and sequencer failure and exit window in the red. So we get a 3 out of 5 on the security pie chart, which is the highest that we see today. In terms of top protocols, we see QuickSwap. So this is a DEX. This is a derivatives platform. You can also farm and do some staking there as well. So pretty much everything you can do on QuickSwap. We also see Balancer in number 2 at 2.5 million TPL, and that's a DEX, and then Dolomite lending protocol at 1.6, and then Gamma Liquidity Manager, which is managed through QuickSwap anyways. So I'd say QuickSwap is probably the one thing you want to do on the network right now at a bare minimum. So what kind of strategies can you do? As I mentioned, it's early in its evolution. We see a low TVL, so there's a high probability of being an early user here. So that comes with many benefits. So there's many new protocols to come to Polygon ZKEVM with 1 billion tokens assigned to developers over the next 7 years. So strategies I would use today is bridge. You could even bridge on the old POS Polygon chain, and you could also stake Polygon tokens there. We've seen some airdrops from that. You want to use dApps, so quick swap for sure, maybe deposit to Dolomite. You want to lend and stake, and you want to interact with governance. So overall, the strategies are pretty similar. You could, if you, for instance, had $4,000, you could put $1,000 to each of these protocols to play around, use on-chain DeFi dApps, and then kind of continue to do that until network reaches maturity, and you can partake in potentially airdrops, points, things like that. So in conclusion, there's no best ZKEVM network to use. Try to use them all and perform strategies on all the networks. Once they are mature, look for the best and highest yields on blue chip protocols. So Aave, for example, you want to use deposit there and take advantage of passive incomes. And then we want to know, what networks would you like to see Furucombo launch on? Let us know in the comment section below or in the community Discord. We'd love to hear from you on this. And here's some references. So DeFi Llama and Layer 2 Beat, really, really good resources for determining TVL, security risks, what applications users are using on chain, things like that. So if you are looking for more information, you can check out these these websites and dig more into the different options that they have available for you to check out. And that will be it for this workshop on ZKEVM with Furucombo. So thank you very much for being in attendance. I hope this was useful for you, and we'll see you at the next one. Cheers.